Hey everybody, welcome to Week in Review. My name is Tom Vassell, and this is a video in which we at the Dice Tower take you through the videos that we put up last week, our reviews, give you a quick rundown of them, and if you think that it's worth pursuing more, you want to learn more about them, you can check out the full review. So here we go, a lot of reviews in a few minutes. Let's start.
Hey everybody, Garcia here. Last week we put out a new Blender episode. Go check that out. And we put out a best of the month, gathering up some ideas about some of the best games we all played this month and why we liked them so much. I also did some reviews. I reviewed the game Extreme, a new version of the Spiel des Jahres nominated The Game, little card game, cooperative game. And it's largely more of the same. It's a little bit tougher now. There's a little more flavor in the game. But unless you really love the first one, this is very similar to that. And if you're only going to get one of the two now, I would definitely recommend you get the new one, the Extreme version instead, because you can still play the original. It's fun. It's all right. Maybe not an award-worthy style of game, but it can be fun. I also reviewed a Game of Thrones Hand of the King, a tiny little sort of abstract set collection game with the Game of Thrones theme pretty clearly slapped on there, but it works. It's a fun set collection game. It's very, it feels very much like an abstract give and take, sort of push and pull game. I would definitely recommend you play it with 2 players or on teams of 2 versus 2. The 4-player game can be a little more chaotic, but it's got a gorgeous look. It's interesting. It fills 15 minutes pretty well. Not, something amazing, nothing to write home about, but I liked it. And then lastly, a Study in Emerald 2nd edition, which I thought was a better version of the game than the first edition. I know a lot of people disagree with me. They thought the new one lost a lot of flavor. But I like that it's streamlined. It's shorter, easier to teach, easier to get into. And it has a really cool theme of Cthulhu meets Sherlock Holmes. You have deck building. You have secret identities. You have action selection. There's a lot going on in this game. And I like it. It's a good-looking game. It's a fun time. Check that one out. A Study in Emerald 2nd edition. And that's it for me. I will see you next time.
Hey, I'm Jason Peacock from Jason Talks About Games. This week, with the help of my son Hayden, we took a look at Clank, a dungeon-delving deck-building game with a board. Watch my review and find out why this kills most other deck builders for me. See you next time.
Hey folks, welcome back to another Week in Review. I did 6 videos this week for you. The first one was one called 3 Seeds. Now this one is a little card game where you are trying to populate some crops with seeds and then cultivate them, harvest them, gain points from harvesting. It's a neat little design, but kind of a poor implementation, I think, of the mechanics. A lot of quirky rules in it. Take it or leave it, try it before you buy it, that type of thing. The next one was one called Kings, with a Z on the end of it. And this is another card game, but this one was slightly a little bit more fun than the first. And it's kind of like Ultimate Warriors, the card game. So it's light, it's kind of dumbed down, not really dumbed down, don't really like using that word, but it's just a lighter card version, I think, of Ultimate Warriors. Whoever gets to 5 reputation points first wins, and so forth and so on. So, or you can be the last person standing. It doesn't really matter either way, but neat game. I had fun with it, but I don't think it'll hit the table much in my group, but I will enjoy it if it does. The next one is a game called Guards of Atlantis. Now, this is a game that I picked up at Essen. Their booth was just right around the corner from ours, and had a great time demoing it there. Played it a bunch since then, and I really enjoy this game. This is probably one of the highlights from Essen for me, and it has definitely been one of the highlights for this month. Steel Arena Friday Night Robot Fights, and the name really says it all. You take on the helm of a robot in a battle arena against other robots, and you have all of these different attachments to your robot that you can activate during your turn, and some of them will allow you to activate a second one, and some of them auto-cool themselves so you don't have to cool them down yourself. And it's just a really neat, fun time in the Steel Arena. Really should give it a try. It's from Gaga Games, and it's one that you should definitely give a whirl. I really enjoyed it, had a lot of fun with it as well. Now, the next one is a game from Martin Wallace. Now, his games I really haven't liked that much in the past because they're really usually too heavy for me, but this one is a mid-weight Euro family style weight game called The Arrival, and it's got an old ancient Irish theme wrapped around it where Irish chieftains are trying to battle against and push back this horde of Fomori or Fomori, however you pronounce it, from invading the north. And so I really enjoyed the game's mechanics. It's not very aesthetically pleasing, but I understand why they chose all of the muted colors and that type of thing. It just doesn't look that great on the board. Anyway, that's a great game. You should give that one a whirl. Finally, for videos this week, I was able to do another Battling Brushes with Rob Oren, and we're tackling Wrath of Kings right now, the starter set for Wrath of Kings called Honor and Treachery, between the Ashmen and the Scorza. Actually, the Ashmen is not the actual faction name, but I forget at the moment. Anyway, this week, I'm taking care of the Scorza Shieldbreaker, a big, huge, burly of a model, and then Rob is also taking the burly model from the Ashmen called Longhorn. So it's a great little video, I think. We enjoyed making these, so hopefully you enjoy watching them. Anyway, that's it for me. See you on the flip side.
It's Roy Kennedy from Epic Gaming Night, and this week I reviewed two different Haba games, kids games that you can look at playing with your kids. Mix and Match Robbers was the first one I took a look at. It's a speed game where you're flipping over these cute cartoon characters and trying to touch the characters around the board, and who can be the first to touch it gets points. And you can also play a variant where you steal from each other. This game can't really be played with like adults and kids on the same level, and you have to have a little bit older kids to really be able to enjoy it. It was a miss for my family, and I think Haba has a lot better games out there, so take a look at that one. And then Unicorn Glitter Luck is the other game I took a look at. This is a roll and move game with bright rainbows and pink unicorns and all that sort of stuff. So if you have a little gamer that would be interested in that sort of thing, it's a good game. My kids love this game. It's real easy to play, and they get to count up the crystals afterwards. It's got nice wooden components and chunky bits, and that game's a little bit better. But yeah, that's my reviews for this week. Make sure to check them out.
Hello, this week I did a review of Adrenaline from Czech Games Edition, and in this game you're running around shooting other people and just getting points and doing damage. So it's a first-person shooter in a small contained area, but still it's not a real first-person shooter, it's just more of a resource management and making the best of what you have. So it's an interesting title, but yeah, check it out. See ya.
Okay, so for me, first of all, we have Monster Mash. This was not an instant smash. In fact, this was kind of a rip-off. It's not a rip-off. It's just too similar to Jungle Speed, I guess. And it's a speed game where you grab stuff in the middle, but there just isn't enough oomph behind the game. Run a Hero is an okay game in which players are trying to get different heroes in front of them. And you do this by offering cards to other players, and they take it or put it in front of them. It's a nice, cool concept, and there's some really fun moments in the game. I think there should be more of those moments. Toria, this is a pretty cool idea where there's 4 castles on the board facing you, and those are the actions you can take. You take one, then you rotate it, changing the actions that you have and your opponents have. Really cool concept. Put on top of a game that's basically just a very mediocre racing game where you run around and collect stuff with a very odd end game. It's a good game. I just think it could have been amazing. Ponzi Scheme. Ponzi Scheme is a game that's actually very well done. Jason and I reviewed this together, and he likes it much more than I do. My biggest problem with Ponzi Scheme is it's an intriguing economic game where you're going to go bankrupt over the course of the game. You have to try to stave that off as long as you possibly can. It just, for me, that theme isn't very fun. It's not fun to try to stay afloat financially. I think there's enough of that in real life. Morpheus is a game where you're making dreams for people with this kind of rotating thing, and you take an action. Other people might take the same action. I mean, after you get through the dream theme, it's basically just collect resources and fulfill missions and hear dreams. But it has some neat ideas of kind of a rondel taking actions on it. OK Play. This is basically just Connect 4, but free form on a table. Really high quality pieces. This is like the simplest possible game you can imagine in this regard. But it works. Simon Air, this is not really a game, it's just a toy in a sense. It's Simon, and it's a cool idea. It even works with 2 people. Technology is slightly behind where I would like it to be. Goodie box. This is some promos. You're either going to like them or not. Just check it out. You'll see if you want those promos. There's one for Time Stories that I like very much. Docmas. This is a game in which players are going to be rotating and sliding the board around, trying to move their pieces all over the board. You'll have a different special ability where you can rotate, move pieces. The different terrain does different things, but it's very much an abstracted game. What I thought was very entertaining and very just interesting how you can move your pieces all across the boards. Risk Europe. This is not your typical game of Risk. In fact, it's very little risk in it at all, with cards that you choose on your turn to take to move things, different actions that you have, combat with 4 different types of pieces, and cities that give special abilities. I mean, it's not amazing, but it's pretty cool. Reminds me of one of the Game Master games like Fortress America and Axis and Allies. Etoile. This is an abstract strategy game that uses a Mancala type mechanism to pick things up, and then you get 4 in a row. Wonderful production, simple game. 4 in a row type games always attract me, so this is a good one in that genre. Tintes is another game from the same company with the little discs, and you are trying to get all 7 discs of one color, or trying to get the 4 discs of 4 different colors. 4 different colors. It's a really cool concept. It's neat how you're moving. You move, and then you can move again, then you can move again. I really like it. It's very thinky, and just comes together in a good package. Spaghetti. This is an abstract strategy game in which you are dexterity stacking spaghetti pieces and pulling them off without things falling. I liked it. It's a cool. It feels different. It feels fresh for a dexterity game, and just has a really good visual appeal. Coin Quest. This one does not have a great visual appeal, but it's a really fun game. Mixes bag building, where you're getting coins to put them in your bag, and then you have a shield and you bid on new coins. So it kind of mixes Revolution, which is a game I enjoy much, with bag building. A good combo. Really like this one. Escape Room, the game my daughters and I played through all 4 scenarios here. It is fantastic. It's a really good, different scenarios where you try to stop a bomb from going off, get out of a lab, get out of prison. What was the 4th one? Find a treasure that was in Mayan ruins. Really neat. Each one felt different. They were very cool. Each one's about an hour. Really liked it. And Beasts of Balance. I'm just really in love with the technology of this game. This is a dexterity game where you're putting really cool shaped beasts and different weird elements on these things, but as you put them there, they interact with the iPad, forming new breeds of animals and stuff. And wow, the technology, the fun, the toy factor, it worked with my whole family. That was just an excellent thing. There also several other videos went up over the course of this week. Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower. Until next time, I'm Tom Vassell, and this has been Week in Review.